Welcome to the IDC In 5. This is a program that gives you the opportunity to interact with the IDC. On the program today, we respond to a question from Elijah.
I would like to know where and how does IDC make its money, and further I would like to be schooled on the difference between a profit-making company and a dividend-declaring company. How does IDC use its dividend? Because I feel like IDC uses its dividend to support loss-making companies. Is there any defense against that narrative?
To respond to Elijah, I have on the program Mr. Raphael Chipoma, Chief Financial Officer here at the IDC.
IDC makes its money in a number of key ways. Firstly, IDC receives dividends from the portfolio companies that IDC is mandated to manage. IDC also makes money by receiving management fees from these companies that IDC manages. IDC also receives interest on shareholder loans, rentals, as well as placements of funds with financial institutions, as well as other investments. So those are the primary ways in which IDC makes money. IDC also raises funds from grants from the Treasury, as well as other funds that may be raised from financial institutions, donors, and any other partners who might be willing to invest within what IDC needs to invest in. So the primary difference between profit and dividends is that a profit is what money a company makes out of its operations. Basically, this is the excess of revenue over costs. So a profit-making company is one that is making more money than it's spending and therefore has a profit. A dividend, on the other hand, is that part of the profit that goes to the shareholders or the owners of the company. So it is possible that a profit-making entity would not necessarily pay a dividend. The IDC policy is for profit-making companies to pay a dividend of around 35% of the profit. And that is because the profits are needed by the company to keep funding future investments, as well as to keep reserves in the company to fund it in times when there is low profitability. So IDC uses the dividend that is declared by its subsidiaries to fulfill the IDC mandate, which is job creation, wealth creation, industrialization, as well as driving the overall government agenda of bringing development to this country. So IDC dividends will typically be invested in projects such as setting up a factory in Mwinilunga, for example, setting up a cassava processing plant in Chitambo. IDC will go out and set up new industries, specifically in rural areas. That's a particular target for IDC development. And this development goes a long way in creating jobs in rural areas, for example, creating wealth and bringing industrialization as well as diversification of the economy. So there's a misconception that IDC utilizes these dividends to fund loss-making companies. That is not necessarily correct, because IDC uses those dividends to bring about development. In cases where there are loss-making companies, IDC would only utilize these funds in order to recapitalize these companies where they need to expand, as well as to fund future expansion of companies that would need to grow. Examples of where IDC has invested the dividends is in the Kalene fruit processing plant established in Mwinilunga that has created jobs within a rural area and has created an offtake for the pineapple that is produced by the people in that area. We've also recently launched the Chitambo processing plant, which processes cassava into starch as well as cassava meal. We've also set up another food processing plant in Katete, as well as constructing one in Chisamba. So you see, that is why we need that dividend.
Indeed, we need that dividend to change the narrative of many Zambians. This is Charles Chulu, and I'll see you in the next conversation.